Hey everybody, and welcome to your February Mental Health Monday video. I am going to be talking today about getting to know your therapist and what it even means to be a culturally competent therapist in this field. So about me, my name is Leah O'Brien, and I am a therapist here within the First Responders Foundation, but I also have my own private practice where I see first responders and spouses called Thin Line Therapy that is also housed within the foundation. So I have been a therapist since 2018. Found my niche working with first responders and their loved ones. I grew up the daughter of a Lincoln firefighter who is now happily retired, and I am currently married to a Council Bluffs firefighter as well. So that is my connection to the first responder world. But there are a lot of backgrounds and stories of therapists on our first responder support team here at the foundation that makes them culturally competent in this field as well. So like I said, the first responders support team is comprised of therapists and administrators from various departments in the metro area. We meet on a monthly basis here at the foundation just to talk about department needs, clinician needs, upcoming trainings and workshops. We do our own training and just kind of basically talk about what's going on in our world and the first responder world and what we can do to further mental health being talked about in various departments here in the metro area. So what even makes a clinician culturally competent? Well, there's a little bit of a vetting experience that we kind of do here with the foundation for someone to even be on our preferred provider list, and that includes the taking of the basic and the advanced clinician training that is put on by myself and Jason Workman. So that's kind of the first step. If a therapist would like to be much more culturally competent in the first responder world, we would like them to at least have this training under their belt. And that training is it's not just a day, it's like 3 mornings, 2 hours each. And we talk about the lives, the schedules, the stigmas of first responders from law enforcement, firefighters, dispatch, corrections officers, military. I might be forgetting a few, but we start there and then we get, more and more specific into the needs of first responders. So that's kind of our first step. So I took that years ago, and that's kind of how I got into this field. I knew that I liked working with first responders, but didn't know where to start. Luckily, I found the First Responders Foundation and that training, and that is where I started, and that's where a lot of people start. So another kind of basic ask that we have for our preferred providers is that they partake in some sort of ride along. Not that that's going to make somebody culturally competent, overnight, but it really helps provide a different perspective, being on and in the first responders territory. So the ride-alongs that I have done have been a lot of fun, very enlightening, and you just get to know the officer on another level, the officer or the firefighter or wherever you go on another level, and they get to see you on another level too, instead of in a clinical setting. So some of our even personal histories of clinicians on the first responder support team include being a first responder themselves. So obviously they would not have to do, ride-alongs if they're coming from a law enforcement background, they're in retirement and would like to see people on a therapeutic basis. But we have former firefighters, we have former law enforcement, we have therapists who are or were in military families, who have a history of dispatch work. There's a lot of work and history, personal history that we have on our support team, which is really, really amazing. Obviously being an active member of the first responder support team is a need for someone to, remain active and remain on our preferred provider list. And then of course, and you know, this is not a comprehensive list by any means, but these are some of our basic asks of therapists, is that they sign a confidentiality document and liability insurance. Pretty basic stuff. So whatever it comes up in our meetings, especially if it's confidential information about a department or about, you know, someone in particular, and it just needs to be kept in that room, you know that it will stay in that room. So those are kind of our basic asks of what makes a clinician culturally competent. But obviously time in working with a first responder makes someone more and more culturally competent. But hopefully this video kind of provides you with a little bit of background on our preferred providers and what we ask of people before we start referring them to you. So at the very least, if you're getting a referral from the First Responders Foundation, you know that they have been vetted or that they have been an active member of this team. They know their stuff. So hopefully this is just a little bit of a start, but of course, reach out to the First Responders Foundation, myself, Jason Workman, anybody else at the organization for any more questions. You can find an easy fill out form on our website, or our emails are just our first names at firstrespondersfoundation.org. But hopefully this video kind of gives you a little bit more enlightenment on a little bit of our backgrounds. So thank you for watching, and we will see you in March.